Welcome back, everybody. Today we're diving into one of those mysteries that's been around for a while, a true crime mystery, actually. And you and all of our listeners really love unsolved mysteries, so
Oh, yeah.
I think this one is really going to be right up your alley.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's got that international intrigue too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so this is the case of the Isdal Woman.
It has baffled investigators for, over 5 decades now. It's
Mhm.
got cryptic clues, and then you've got these false identities, and it all takes place during the
Oh, it's like raw the ingredients for
a
it.
really great story.
Yeah. So let's rewind all the way back to November 1970,
Okay.
when two hikers in Norway, they're near Bergen, in this place called the Isdal Valley, and they find a woman's body, and it's been badly burned.
Oh, wow.
But the body's not the only thing that's a little unsettling here.
Right.
The whole scene just seems really deliberately staged.
Yeah, her body was positioned, and they found clothes nearby that were folded neatly, and there's really no sign of a struggle at all. So it does point to somebody going through a lot of trouble to conceal her identity.
Yeah, like they just wanted to make her disappear.
Exactly.
She was never even there.
And then on top of that, you've got these strange items found at the scene.
Oh, right. Like what?
Well, there was a plastic bag, and it had clothing in it. But the clothing had labels from all these different countries.
Really?
And then a torn map of Bergen,
Wow.
and some notes that looked like they had been partially burned, and they were in different languages, too.
That's a lot for investigators to try to piece together.
It is.
What do you think? Do you think this stuff was just left there to throw investigators off?
It's possible. Think about it. You've got clothing from different countries that could have been on purpose
Right.
to confuse people about where she was from.
Yeah, makes sense.
But then you've got the map of Bergen, and that was found really close to the body.
Huh.
So that makes you think maybe it was supposed to be like a guide.
Almost like they wanted to lead investigators somewhere but then changed their mind and then tore up the map.
Yeah.
It gets even weirder because they also found glasses and a wristwatch.
Oh, wow.
And those things weren't damaged at all in the fire.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if maybe they were put there after the fire was set.
Yeah, on purpose?
Like somebody wanted them to be found.
It's like they're dropping clues on purpose, but then they're going through all this trouble to hide who she was.
It's a strange combination, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so then there's that notebook we've all heard about.
Oh, yeah, the coded notebook.
Yeah, so tell me about that. What's so unusual about it?
Well, they found this notebook with her stuff, and it's filled with codes and notations, and it's in multiple languages, too.
Oh, wow.
German was one of them. Investigators have spent so much time trying to figure these codes out.
It sounds like a spy.
It does.
Mhm.
Makes you think of a spy novel or something.
It does. I mean, with the codes and all the different languages and the traveling. Do you think she was a spy?
Well, we can't rule it out right, especially when you think about what was going on back then.
The Cold War.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Norway was a really important place back then for NATO,
Right.
but also for the Soviet Union.
So they were both there.
It was a prime spot to gather intelligence,
So maybe she got caught up in something,
That's definitely possible.
like some international intrigue.
And you've got the aliases, too.
Right, right. Like how many were there?
Well, we know she used a bunch of different names when she was staying in those hotels in Bergen.
Yeah, Menberga.
Franziska and Tina, those were just two of the names.
And she always paid in cash, right?
Yes, and she never seemed to have much luggage with her.
Wow. So she was really trying to stay under the radar.
Seems that way.
It's like she was living a double life,
Almost.
always looking over her shoulder.
Yeah.
Did the investigators ever figure out who those aliases belonged to?
Well, they tried really hard, but they could never connect any of those names to a real person.
So it's like she just appeared out of thin air, just popped up using these fake names, and then all those clothes from different countries. Does that complicate things even more? Do you think that was intentional?
It's hard to say for sure. It could have been her way of making it harder to figure out where she was from.
Right.
But maybe she just bought clothes in a lot of different places as she traveled.
Yeah.
We don't really know, but it definitely makes things more complicated.
It's like we know less than we think we know.
That's a good way to put it.
We don't even know how she died.
That's right.
What are the possibilities?
Well, some experts think she was poisoned and then her body was set on fire.
Wow.
Others think maybe it was exposure to the elements or something else entirely.
So we don't know who she was or why she was in Norway, and we don't even know for sure how she died.
It's true.
Like every time you try to figure something out, you just end up with more questions.
That's the Isdal Woman case for you.
A mystery wrapped in an enigma.
It is a case full of unanswered questions, and each one is more puzzling than the last.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I think that's part of what makes it so fascinating,
Yeah.
You don't have a clear motive.
It's true.
It just adds to the mystery.
Yeah, was she silenced because she knew something she shouldn't have, or was her death like warning to other people?
It's possible.
It's a case that even after all these years, people are still coming up with new theories.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's everything from espionage to assassination, or maybe she just stumbled onto something that she wasn't supposed to know.
It could be anything.
It's like a detective novel, but it's real life.
It really is.
And I think what makes this case really stick with you is that we're talking about a real person.
Of course.
A woman whose story we don't know.
And we don't even know her name.
Right. And that makes it even more tragic,
Yeah.
It's like her whole life was just wiped out.
All we have are these questions.
And no answers.
Right.
But her story, it still resonates with people. I mean, people are still trying to figure it out.
There are books, documentaries, tons of online forums.
All dedicated to the Isdal Woman.
People want to know the truth.
So we can't let it go.
It's human nature, I think.
Yeah.
We want to understand what we don't know.
And make sense of it all.
Especially when it seems like there's no sense to be made.
Right. And there's always that hope that maybe some new piece of information will come out.
That would be great.
Didn't the Norwegian police reopen the case back in 2016?
They did.
Yeah. Why was that?
Well, they were hoping that new technology, forensics,
Oh, yeah.
maybe that could give them some answers.
Like DNA or something.
Exactly.
Did they find anything?
He did, actually.
Really?
They were able to use isotope analysis on her teeth and bones.
Oh, wow.
And they were able to narrow down where she might have been from.
Really?
To a certain region in Germany.
So they were getting closer to finding out who she was.
It seemed like it, but even with that new information, her real name, her background, her story.
It's still a mystery.
All of it's still a mystery.
Like she never even existed, except for this case.
That's a good way to put it.
So close, and yet so far away.
It's like she's meant to remain a mystery.
A ghost from the past.
Maybe.
With all her secrets.
But even without knowing all the answers,
Yeah.
I think this case teaches us something.
Like what?
Well, it reminds us that people are complicated.
Yeah.
And that we all have secrets.
For sure.
And some people will go to any lengths to protect those secrets.
It's a scary thought, but it's true.
It is.
And it reminds us that even today, with all the technology we have, some mysteries might never be solved.
Yeah, it's true.
This deep dive, it's been fascinating, but also a little unsettling.
I agree.
We've talked about the clues and all the different theories, but we still don't know the most important things.
Right.
Like, who was she? Why was she in Norway? And why did someone go through so much trouble to make it look like she never existed?
Those are the questions that keep coming back.
They do. What's the thing that stands out to you the most about this whole case? Is it the spy stuff or the clues or something else?
For me, it's how carefully everything was planned.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about making sure she was dead. It was about making her disappear completely.
Like she never existed.
Exactly. And to do that takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
So that tells me that there was a really strong reason to keep her identity a secret.
It's chilling when you think about it like that.
It is.
What could have been so important to this and what would go to all that trouble?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's the big one.
Maybe if we knew who she was,
Yeah.
it would unlock a whole other mystery.
Like maybe she was the key to something bigger.
Right. Maybe there was a secret that someone had to protect no matter what.
It always comes back to those same questions.
Yeah.
Why was she even in Norway?
Who did she know?
What secrets did she have?
Those are the questions that make this case so fascinating.
And so frustrating.
And it shows you that even now, even with all the technology we have,
Yeah.
there are still places where secrets can stay hidden.
It's a scary thought.
It is, but it's true.
It makes this case even more interesting, though.
It does.
It makes you think critically.
Yeah.
It makes you try to connect the dots. And it makes you want to keep searching for the truth, even when it seems impossible.
I agree.
Yeah, this deep dive, it's been really eye-opening.
Oh, yeah.
We've learned so much about the clues and all the different theories.
It's fascinating.
But we still don't know who the Isdal woman was or why her life ended the way it did.
Those are the questions that stay with you.
They really do.
Yeah.
It's almost like she was meant to remain a mystery.
Maybe she was.
But maybe someday something new will come up.
That would be amazing.
Some new evidence. Or maybe someone who knew something will finally come forward.
We can always hope.
Yeah. And maybe technology will get even better and give us the answers we're looking for.
I hope so.
Until then, the mystery continues.
It does.
You know, it's incredible how a case from the 1970s can still captivate us like this. I have to say, I have more questions now than I did before we started.
Me too.
But that's what makes a mystery so good, right?
Exactly.
It keeps us guessing.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, it keeps us coming back for more.
And it reminds us that there are still mysteries out there.
Oh, yeah, so many.
Some we've solved, some we're still working on,
And some.
that we may never solve.
And that's where you come in, dear listener. We want to hear from you. What would you do if you were investigating this case? What clue would you follow to try and uncover the truth about the Isdal Woman? Let us know, and until next time, keep those brains buzzing and never stop searching for the truth.